Look at memes while I was watching it because it's just so boring.
It was very boring. I started cleaning. That's
Oh,
how boring
really?
it was.
All aboard!
Hey! Huh? Oops! What? Wow! Yeah!
Welcome, everybody, friends and frans and pelicans, to episode 15 of Where Streams Come True, the show where we suffer through the entire good and bad of Disney+. I am your host, Collins, and joining me today, we have previous guests returning, Cameron Jackson.
Hello.
And Nevi.
Hello.
And new today is Elena. You want to introduce yourself?
I'm Elena.
Elena. She works with us at studio. Today we will see. I don't even fully edit the doc. It still says this week we watched the Muppets. We didn't. We watched the Crimson Wing, Mystery of the Flamingos, a 2008 documentary by directors Matthew Aberhard and Leander Ward. In a remote and forgotten wilderness of Tanzania, one of nature's last great mysteries unfolds: the birth, life, and death of a million crimson-winged flamingos. Against a backdrop of never-before-filmed landscapes, these secretive birds struggle to survive and prevail over danger and fate in an inspiring story that reminds us, right here on Earth is a universe waiting to be discovered. Okay,
So
That makes it
before we
sound
start,
interesting.
I have a question.
yes.
Is it pronounced matron with an M or a natron with an N?
Which word are you referring to?
Well, they talk about Lake Matron or Natron or whatever.
Oh, it's natron with an N.
Oh, okay. All right.
I completely forgot the name of the lake, so good job, Cameron. If I didn't have my notes, then I guess initial thoughts. I don't think any of us have seen this before.
No.
No.
I guess I'll go first this time. My initial thoughts were it was kind of boring. Pelicans are scary up close. I rolled my eyes when it opened with a British person saying, "Once upon a time in Africa," and I was like, "Oh boy, it's gonna be one of these." And like the uncharted, forgotten wastes of Tanzania. I'm like, well, people live there, but whatever. Anyway, that's my thought. I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed like little parts of it. Cameron, you go next.
Yeah, this is just a hot mess of garbage from start to finish. I mean, well, I guess the start wasn't too bad. They had that weird quote, and I was like, ooh, is this going to be like inspirational? And then it just quickly went downhill, and then it just never went back up.
The summary makes it feel like it's supposed to be inspirational.
Yeah.
And
It's not.
You know, there's so much to get into. Neffy, what are your thoughts?
My initial thoughts is that I did not know flamingos were demons. They have like the creepiest eyes. It's
Yeah. Oh
This
my
picture
gosh.
doesn't do them justice. It should be like all red. Like they're
Yeah.
kind of cute as babies, but they're just horrifying up close.
Yep. Yeah, it's a little trippy. And then they feed their babies blood. I'm like, what the F?
Yeah.
Must have
Oh,
missed
boy.
that part.
Well, they're like talking about how they're feeding their babies, and then the one baby was like drinking out of its mom's mouth, and they're like, part of it is its own blood, and I was like, oh no.
There were
Oh,
so many things about flamingos that I wish I didn't know now.
Yeah.
Elena, what are your just initial thoughts from watching this movie?
Bad. I enjoy documentaries. Like, I really like nature ones. And I've actually watched a whole documentary on just birds. But that was just boring. Like, I don't know why, but it was not entertaining to watch at all.
Welcome to the show. Don't worry. Next time's gonna be better. I promise. Yeah. Let's just get into the full review for this. For those of you at home, as of recording this, I have still been unable to upload the previous episode of the podcast because my internet's been terrible. But it should be up soon. So if the episode is shorter, then it's just to help uploading, and because it was a boring movie. Anyway, the film documents the lives of the lesser flamingos on the isolated shores of Lake Natron in northern Tanzania, revealing the breeding and okay, I can do this. The breeding and parenting habits of the species. After mating on an immense salt island, the flamingos breed their chicks, who learn to survive and grow up in an extreme and dangerous environment. In the course of their journeys, they encounter marabou storks, who prey on many eggs and newly born chicks, and a spotted hyena, who takes no pity on the adult flamingos. Pause there and discuss. I first want to bring up how, according to this documentary, the legend of the phoenix is that thing. Is a flamingo.
Yeah,
They're
apparently.
like the natives saw this lake of fire because the sun reflects off it and the salt, and these red birds, and that's where the phoenix comes from, because they're born on the lake of fire.
I didn't get that part.
It was confusing, but yeah, but they're talking about like how the phoenix comes from the flamingos.
Yeah, I thought it was just like red bird.
Yeah, I think
The
that might
phoenix.
just be it, redbird. Which is whatever.
Yeah.
So going
There's
through
so much to talk about in this beginning.
There's so much to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
We got bird sex 15 minutes in,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I thought was way too soon. I wasn't expecting it, but it had the and they have a mate for that lasts for the season, and it begins with a moment, and it just hops onto another bird. Like, oh
Yeah.
no, too soon.
Oh boy. British people, they just love showing that stuff.
I know. I was like, Disney nature.
And surprisingly, I've seen other Disney nature films, and this is like the worst one I've seen. Because usually they have some sort of narrative, like, but I don't know. This
Mhm.
one's a little strange.
Where like Meerkat Manor or stuff like that, where they follow like a specific flamingo or
Mhm.
like a specific
Yeah.
group of animals. They
They
kind of
kinda,
did
like,
that.
tell the story.
Yeah, there was a little bit in the next part of the recap. There's a little bit where it follows one, but and I was like, okay, so we're gonna follow this one, but like no, they immediately, which I guess is difficult because there's so many of them and they all look the
Yeah.
same. When it showed just like the sea of flamingos and they're all just like cricking their heads. Oh, it's so creepy. It's like
Dude.
Silent Hill type stuff.
I do have to say, like in the first couple scenes, like after they show the volcano, they show the scenes of the birds, but they leave like awkward pauses and silences and just show the birds basically doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yes. There is like 6 minutes where there's just flamingos walking around. Like, you can't show flamingos walking around for 6 minutes.
Oh, but yeah, and it's that like horizontal shot where all of their like bodies and feet blend together, so it's like a giant furry centipede walking along.
Yeah. Gosh.
Is too long of pauses.
It happens so much. So the narrator will like say like one line and then there's just nothing for like a minute.
Not even any like
They'll
good
say something
music.
else.
Like,
Yeah.
some documentaries will have like they'll like show the landscapes, which is cool, and they'll have some like Soaring Over California type music. But this did not have that.
Yeah.
It barely even had a
Yeah.
soundtrack. I don't remember any
I don't think so.
melodies or
It was just awkward silence.
it was.
Yeah. It's just not good. Also, so what really ticked me off about the beginning is they started talking about this volcano and then they just never came back to it until like the end. And none of it has to do anything with the
Yeah.
flamingos.
Yeah, I thought the volcano. Yeah, maybe that was part of the Phoenix thing. Was the volcano,
Could be.
but they barely talked about it. It
Yeah,
really
like the
confused me.
volcano explodes with sulfur and ash or whatever, and then they just keep talking about that, and I'm like, you gonna get the flamingos or
It does not affect
like
flamingos. The shots of the ice, the salt islands moving together was oddly satisfying to watch. I will say, I did enjoy that.
yeah.
And they're just like smooshing up, and they have the storks. I thought was just a bigger flamingo for a second, and they told me what it was.
That
Um,
was so disturbing.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
like watching baby animals die, but
It's
every
sad.
documentary makes sure you know that they're
Yeah.
dead.
Like, oh my heck. I didn't think they were actually gonna like show a stork just ripping the neck of a baby flamingo. Like, what?
And then the
This is
hyena,
rated
like
G.
the hyena pounces on an adult as well, and I think it's a
Mhm.
couple of. Oh, that moment made me roll my eyes as well. It's like, but a mysterious predator approaches or something. And like, it's a hyena. You can just say
Yeah.
that. I know what that is. One hyena, and then like they all fly away,
Yeah.
like, and mysteriously, just as they appeared, they vanish. Like, well, no, they're flying away.
Yeah.
You don't. It's. I don't know what it's trying to emulate, the sort of like flowery language and the mystery of the what okay, here's a question. What is the mystery of the flamingos that this is supposed to be about?
I don't know.
I thought like if they were gonna do that, they were like talk about like how they turn pink or something.
They kind of did at the beginning. It's
They just like touched on it and then they just
yeah, it's because of what they
moved on.
eat.
Like there was
Yeah.
more of a mystery there. And I was
Mhm.
like, they're just a bird though.
Yeah.
Sure.
I did think of chickens a lot when I watched this film, especially when I was looking at the baby flamingos. Like they look like a
Oh
chicken.
yeah.
I can see that.
Like the way they move their heads too.
Mm-hmm.
A little more disturbing than chickens because their necks are so long. When it's
Yeah,
just like
and they have that joint
this,
in the middle.
yeah, that's just the shot of a sea of flamingos all at like neck up, and they're all just like,
Hmm.
it's just weird, and I don't like it. Moving on, I guess. As the film progresses, it focuses on the life of one of the flamingo chicks. The young flamingo teaches herself the key habits of the species. She successfully grows up to become a large pink-feathered bird and survives when the group is attacked by the hyena. Her story shows the strength and determination for the life the flamingos have. The film ends by emphasizing the importance of preserving lake nature from pollution and exploitation to ensure the survival of the lesser flamingos. And just like the recap, it is just a sentence at the very end. That I know we're leaping ahead, but I just laughed out loud when I saw that. It's like we've had this whole dumb thing about the flamingos, and then at the very end, it's like, yeah, pollution and stuff might drive these animals extinct, and it's threatening their habitat, by the way. And then it ends. Like, well,
Yeah.
Barry in the lead there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird because like it is a problem with flamingos, and there's a lot more to it than just a single line.
Yeah, it's just the end card addresses this huge problem. It would have been more interesting to have the documentary show like the chick growing up and crap, but like also show like the effects of climate change and pollution on their habitat, like visually in the documentary. But it didn't, so I don't even know what that looks like. It's like, does the salt go away or something?
I think it's clear that like the people who made this were just like, we have all of this flamingo footage. What the heck do we do with it? And they're like, well, I guess we can make a movie about it. And then they're like, well, what if we also put this environmental message at the end?
Okay, we'll do that.
Movie sold.
And all it does, as it says, it just emphasizes the importance of preserving it. It doesn't like say like here's a charity you could donate to. Here's a petition you can sign or something. It's just this is a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they look fine to me. I didn't see a problem, honestly.
Yeah, not with what they showed us.
Not with what they showed us. They should. I wish they had shown like what the problem was
Mhm.
and what it's been done to help.
Yeah.
That would have probably made it more interesting, honestly.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anything
only-
would have made it more interesting.
There was only one human in the entire documentary.
Yeah, that was weird.
And they
And
just picked up a
even-
feather.
Even the human was out of place.
Yeah.
Because it was like, why is there a human here? I don't understand.
It gave no context.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't
Just
say,
Red
like,
Riding
and
Hood walking in the middle of nowhere. Why are we having
it's-
footage of this?
It talks about the specific tribe, I believe, that is around there. I don't remember the name. It began with an M. I don't have it in my notes, but they could have given context for like
The
this-
Matronese. Oh, I don't know.
Matronese? Possibly. That might actually be right. I don't know. Natronese. I don't know. But they could have explained like why that person was out there and why they were collecting feathers. I think they were collecting feathers. I'm not sure. Let's
But I
talk
would
a
be doing,
bit-
I guess.
Let's talk a bit about the flamingo that the story follows for a bit. What are your thoughts on that? The one time it does follow a flamingo.
I think I spaced out when they were doing that. I think they went to a marsh or something, right? Was that what they,
Like they,
migrated to?
It was part of the flamingo, the hyena thing at one point. Like it followed like there's this one chick and gets older and it talks about the down turning into plumage and then the plumage changing colors and then it learning to fly, which I think
That was
real
all
short.
really boring.
It was real boring and it was pretty short.
Was that the one that had the salt stuck on its legs and it couldn't walk, or was that a different one?
Oh, I think that was the one that they show like starved to death basically.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because they're like, but not all. Some will be left behind, and it just stays uncomfortably too long, focused on this poor baby just trying to walk, and then late. I think at one point it even shows a dead flamingo getting like pushed around by the salt moving.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was messed up.
Oh yeah, that was in my notes. Is I wasn't thinking that I would see a flamingo skeleton today.
Yes.
But Disney Plus had another idea in mind, I guess. And this is something that it reminded me of that bugs me with documentaries, that they never fully explain. Why is it with animals that it's always like, will the babies survive to get to the safe place? Why are they always born around immediate danger? Like the flamingos are born around hyenas and marabou storks. Like turtles are on the beach where they can get eaten by pelicans. Fish are upriver where they can get eaten by bears, or just entire river, I guess. I don't know why animals do that, but it's always confused me. And I don't think any documentary has appropriately explained why the location matters of the breeding grounds, aside from it being arbitrarily dangerous.
I don't know. I think it's just always dangerous. It just becomes more dangerous now that there are children present
Yes.
because they can't protect themselves as well as like adults.
Yeah, because in this case, when they can fly, they can pretty much get away from most things, like the hyena. But when I guess that makes sense. But
I
the
will say,
documentary,
When the one flamingo that they were following first learned to fly, they like kind of took off and started like running across the water. I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah, I liked the little bit where it followed one flamingo, but that was it. The rest was boring and didn't explain things properly.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts from the movie?
Yes, I do have
Yes.
more thoughts.
Okay, go on, Cameron. Keep this gravy train rolling.
So, the cinematography was pretty terrible. There was one point where they were following some flamingos flying across the sky, and the camera like pans and it's like following it, and then it like goes too fast, and so the flamingos like fly off the shot, and then it keeps going in the sky still, and it's like, cut! What are you doing? Cut! It didn't cut. And then there's the narrator.
Yeah.
So
What was the
stupid British narrator kept talking like she was trying to put her child to sleep. And I was like, I get the cadence of like the average British narrator, like that's how they talk. but it's like you can have a little bit more energy in your voice.
I'm gonna
Like, come
see
on.
who the narrator was.
They should have got Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
Mariella Frostrup.
Yeah. She done anything else?
She was in Johnny English Reborn, Sitting Ducks, and Goodness Gracious Me.
Yeah, I've never heard of any. Are those
Okay.
just BBC shows?
Yeah. And yeah, I haven't seen any of these movies. It doesn't even show her credit on her page from this movie,
Oh
Wow.
no.
but it has the other way around.
Interesting.
She writes an agony aunt type column called Dear Mariella for the Observer magazine, a color supplement of UK Sunday newspaper The Observer. So good for her, I guess.
Wow.
And she got to explain to us a bunch of stuff about Tanzania and this one lake and flamingos.
I want to know what the budget of this film was. I'm like,
Oh,
it costs a
let me
lot.
let me
Well-
open that tab up again.
It probably didn't, because you just need a couple people with a camera and they go out in the wilderness and they just shoot flamingos for like a year, and then they just cut it all together and then have somebody narrate it.
It doesn't say what the budget was, but the cumulative worldwide gross earnings was 1.7 million.
No way. How?
Wow. That's just sad. But no.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
It should have not have done that well.
How much did Disney pay to get it on there?
Flamingos budget. I don't know. Well, it was Disney Nature, wasn't it?
That's
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, it was by
Yeah,
Disney?
it was Disney Nature. So it was,
Yeah, it was a
Oh,
Disney
boy.
nature.
Disney, what are you doing?
yeah. I can't find what the budget was, but I agree. I don't imagine it was too much. This was in 2008, so I don't think they would have been filming with a drone yet. So they would have had to use a helicopter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. I think I noticed like those
One
hot,
helicopter.
yeah, like you would see his camera shaking or something.
One of the suggested searches from the title was soundtrack, which I don't know why that's one of the suggested searches. It was not a good soundtrack.
Yeah.
And
Why
I'm
would you
not
want
looking.
a soundtrack?
I'm not looking up who did it either. It's not worth my time.
Oh,
Let's.
my.
Any other thoughts, or what do you want to move into the next section?
Where's my phone? Hold
I
on.
I didn't know that the storks, I think is what they were. I didn't
Yeah.
know they were cannibalistic.
Yeah, or like carnivore. That
Yeah.
was interesting. Because like there's a joke in Adventure Time where there's like a food chain thing, and one of the segments of the food chain is Big Bird eats Smaller Bird, and I always was like, do birds eat birds? And I guess they do. I guess the
think
big
so.
bird eats the smaller bird.
Mm-hmm. I can see it because crows and like seagulls, they eat whatever they find.
Yeah,
So I guess.
that's true. And do you have any nuggets from your notes,
Yes,
Cameron?
I do.
Yes.
Also, so like I said from a little earlier, they just have too much nature footage. They had random shots of like monkeys and like seagulls just thrown out through this movie. It's like,
I
oh,
must have
hey,
missed
that's
the
nature.
monkeys.
Yeah, I was like, why is there a monkey in this flamingo movie? Are they even in Africa?
I'd like to see a monkey fight. I mean, I guess it depends on what area of Africa.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't expect monkeys to be in the same area as the flamingos because it's a desert.
Yeah. Like
Desert monkeys? Is that a thing? I would like to see a monkey fight a flamingo, though. That would be entertaining. Or a monkey ride a flamingo. Like how they have those rodeos where monkeys ride dogs.
What I didn't see is I didn't see any flamingos standing on one leg because that's what flamingos do, isn't it?
Yeah. That's sort of like the iconic flamingo.
Yeah, I didn't
pose.
see any stand on one leg. Maybe I missed it, but
Do you see any of that, Cameron?
No, I didn't see any one-legged things at all.
Maybe only one leg
Weird.
because its leg had been ripped off by a hyena.
There's
might
just
be
like
it.
one shot of a flamingo with one leg, and then people just copied that picture over and over again. And then that's the
Yeah,
only
I
picture we have of
probably.
flamingos.
It's probably like the same stencil every time.
Hmm.
Let's move on to moment of the movie.
Okay.
For those of you new watching, moment of the movie, it could be your favorite moment, your worst moment, least favorite moment, best joke sometimes, just something that you want to call out as your moment of the movie. Let's start with Neffy this time.
I think my moment of the movie is when the mom just decided to leave her baby behind. And she was like, she's looking at the baby, and I'm like, tell me she's not gonna leave him. And then she just leaves with everybody else. I was like, oh my gosh,
It's not
that's
worth
messed
the
up.
effort.
Are you talking
Nice.
about the time where like the stork was attacking, and then the mom was just like, "Yeah, you're dead." And just
You know
starts
what? I
walking
think it happened a couple times, more than once, honestly.
away.
Yeah, because there was also the one who was stuck in the salt, and the mom was
Uh-huh.
just.
Yeah.
They're great parents.
Only the strong survive. Cameron, how about you go next?
Um, so I think my favorite part was the very, very beginning. They had like the shot of like the the feather like floating and then like falling on
Mhm.
those like salt flats or whatever they were, and then it like had music over it, and I was like, oh, that's nice and pretty. And then it just went really boring. But that was a really good part. It was the only part that was good.
Only part that was aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it made the
Um,
whole movie look like it was about to be good, but then it wasn't.
I just thought of mine. My moment of the movie is going to be the one human in the movie because humans are more interesting than flamingos.
Mm-mm.
When the human shows up and he picks up the feather,
Hmm.
that guy. That's mine. And Elena, what is your
Well,
moment?
okay. I don't know if I'm insane. But in the very, 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 very beginning, and it's talking about the Crimson Wing or whatever, it shows the desert. Is there a lady walking in red?
So that's the guy
Picks up the feather
that
later.
Collins is talking about. Yeah, there's somebody in red
Oh, okay.
just walking, and then they pick up the feather. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the worst part for me.
Oh.
Don't understand it at all. I wasn't sure if it was actually, I didn't even know it was actually a human being or not.
Mhm.
It just confused me.
It's like they were trying to add this mystery of the mysterious people who exist by these flamingos, but not like tell us who they are. Just
Or
have
why
one
they
random
matter.
person who, for all we know, could have been a member of the film crew. We
Yeah.
don't know. Or just
Mhm.
some guy. They're flying in the helicopter. Like, oh, there's a guy down there. Let's film him. And then they land like, hey, could you pick up that feather? And it's like, okay, thank you. And then they just leave. In Africa, you don't have to have people sign SAG stuff for that,
Yeah.
or consent forms. You just film them. Is that morally questionable?
Sure.
Absolutely. All right. Let's rank the film first. Before we go into film information and statistics, I will go ahead. I've got a feeling about where this is going to rank.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and share my screen there. So here's where we're standing right now. I'll go ahead and put this in.
Just leave it right there.
History of the film.
Mom's got a date video player.
What was this? 2008?
Yeah.
Okay. 1 equals 2. I can type. Okay.
That's where you should leave it, right there.
Should I just leave it
Space
down
and
there?
then there.
I agree. I agree with 16th place.
Yes.
Yes, everybody agrees?
I'd
Yeah.
say so, yeah.
Okay. So Crimson Wing, Mystery of the Flamingos takes over Santa's Workshop. even though it doesn't have outdated cultural depictions. But hey, actually, maybe it does.
Yeah, maybe it does.
Maybe it does. And I mean, it just didn't. It didn't even have cultural depictions.
That was a racist version of the hyena.
Yeah, you didn't even call it by its real name. But yeah, it didn't even have cultural depictions. It depicted a person, but it did not give us any information about them.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so now that we know it is in 16th place. Film information and statistics. This was written by Melanie Finn, directed by Matthew Aberhart and Leander Ward, released September 25th, 2009. Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to fix the date on the chart then.
It's 2009?
Is it on the thing? It says 2008. On Disney Plus, it says 2008. One of them is wrong.
Oh my god.
Call Disney.
Anyway, runtime 1 hour and 18 minutes.
That was pretty long, honestly.
So
It was
long.
way too long.
I got through the first 6 minutes and I was like, how much more is there of this?
Yeah. IMDb score 7.3 out of 10, which actually is higher than what we watched last week, which was, what did we watch last week? Empire Strikes Back? No, it wasn't.
Muppets?
It was Muppets. Yeah, this has a higher score than the Muppets.
How
No,
dare!
It's because it's a comedy. That's why.
Maybe. Yeah.
Comedies are always low.
Rotten Tomatoes scores are lower. 75% critics, 74% audience. No Metacritic score, for obvious reasons. Let's move on to the mailbag. We'll spin the next wheel. This week's wheel was submitted via email by Open Sprocket and is the Princesses Collection. Cameron, I don't feel like you've spun a wheel in a while.
Nope, I haven't.
Go ahead and spin the wheel.
All right. Yeet. All right.
All right. What is on the wheel, Cameron?
It is the
Oh no.
I have a hard time reading. Way back here. It is the Little Mermaid Ariel's Beginning. Also 2008.
We can't escape 2008.
Mhm.
Yeah, I was worried something like this would come up because the Princess Wheel did have every single sequel ever made. So
Oh,
this is technically Little Mermaid 3, which is a prequel to Little Mermaid.
Oh,
I've never seen it.
no.
Yeah.
neither have I.
This is gonna be weird. So
yeah, it's gonna be weird. Yeah.
It's just Ariel. That's what you're saying.
It's got as part of the research that I did for the definitive list of Disney princesses, I did see a lot of the plot of this movie. It does have all of her sisters in it. It explains what happened to Ariel's mother, why she is not present, and thus explains why Triton hates humans.
She went out for a pack of cigarettes and then the
Well, I thought it said in like the original movie that her mom got killed by humans.
Yeah, that does happen. And you
okay.
get to see it happen in this movie.
Oh, yay.
Okay.
Oh, it's not the way you expect. It's much more darkly hilarious.
Okay.
That doesn't clear it up at all.
Okay.
You'll find out. You'll find out. You'll find out. I'm not going to spoil anything. I haven't even seen it, but I've seen the scene where she dies, and it's weirdly done. Let's go ahead and after that we'll pick next time what wheel we will be spinning. We've got a good selection, and my goodness, we are going to need something good. I hope. Screen sharing. There it is. All right, so this is what we have to pick from. There's a few of these that I don't know how I'm going to do.
Do we have new ones here?
There's a couple. There's one. There's two. Spapples requested Pirates of the Caribbean collection, and Sagai H suggested the nostalgic movies section.
Hell yeah.
I'm down for nostalgic movies.
Yeah, let's do that.
nostalgic movies.
Okay, so next week we will be watching Little Mermaid: Ariel's Beginning, and we will be rolling the next week's wheel, which will be nostalgic movies. Which finally we're gonna get something pre-90s, which I don't think we've got. No, Star Wars.
Oh, we're gonna
Empire-
get more
No, that
updated cultural
Santa workshop,
depictions.
it said it was like in the 30s.
Oh yeah, Santa's Workshop. I forgot about that. I don't know.
So does that mean we're gonna get more outdated cultural depictions?
Oh, very probably. It might just be something milquetoast like Blackbeard's ghost or the Shaggiest Dog, the original Shaggiest Dog. Not the Tim Allen one.
Ooh, it's that stuff?
Swiss
Okay.
Family Robinson. Oh, I hope
Apple
it's not
Dumpling
the
Gang.
Apple Dumpling
I like-
Gang. Yeah, gosh, I forgot about that movie. That was a trip.
Uh.
Anyway, and that is all for today's episode. It's a short one, short and sweet. Not as long as Star Wars. Certainly not as long as the Muppets. Star Wars is longer. Star Wars is like almost 2 hours.
Damn.
Really?
It was an hour and a half solid. The Muppets was just about an hour and 10 minutes. This one is not even going to be an hour, which is fun.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for listening. If you like the show, please review us on iTunes or whatever podcast service you use to listen, and share it with your friends on that service. You can send your reviews or comments to WhereStreamsComeTrue@gmail.com. You can submit a wheel, such as a category or a search term on Disney+. Also, on Twitter at Studio76WCT. And you could submit, even if you feel brave enough, submit a voicemail review of something to anchor.fm/WhereStreamsComeTrue. That's a new feature. I don't see many podcasts that use it, but if somebody wants to, then go right on ahead. I have been Collins, and these have been Neffy, Elena, and Cameron. And that is all for this episode. Happy Flamingos. See you in your dreams.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.